Hey everybody, it's JJ with Audio Workstations. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 Waves plugins that I can't live without. All right, let's get into it with number 1, which is All Channel. All Channel is one of my most used plugins out there. What's great about this is you got a lot of fantastic features built into one plugin. To start out, you have the Renaissance EQ, only the 4-band, which is one thing that I don't like about it is I only have 4 bands. But each one of these bands, I can choose to be any EQ curve I want. I'm not limited on where I can place this EQ, and it doesn't have a lot of color to it, so it's a very clean surgical EQ. As well as you also have the R compressor that can also be changed to the R Vox, one of my favorite compressors for vocals, as well as an expander or gate that you can use. And you also have this side chaining feature for the gate and the compressor, where we can tell the gate or the compressor to be looking at a more specific frequency range. This is extremely helpful with the gate because we can really focus on the area that we don't want to be gated in our audio. Okay, coming in at number 2 is the Q10 EQ. So this is a fully parametric EQ, doesn't have a lot of color, very clean, and you got 10 bands. Each one of those 10 bands can be any type of EQ curve that you want it to be, and it doesn't limit you as far as where you can place those particular bands in the frequency range. It's a real workhorse. You can get a lot done. It's my favorite EQ when it comes to using a lot of notch filters and filtering out specific frequencies. And it tends to be one of my first plugins because I can be very surgical with it and really get a lot done with it. Okay, coming in at number 3 is HDelay. I don't think I'm alone with saying that HDelay is one of the most popular delays out there. It's got a great sound to it. It's got a great color to it, but it also has a lot of features. So to start off, you got your timing feature, which you can either choose yourself with the milliseconds mode, or you can have locked into the BPM that you set with the BPM or host mode. As well as you got a big feedback knob for you to adjust, and you got a big tap button to help you figure out that delay timing. You also have the modulation section, which is great, but you also have a high pass and low pass filter built right into it, which is great because that's something I do to my delays every time. You also have the lo-fi button, which will give you that classic vintage delay sound real quick. You have a ping pong feature, where you can also phase out the left or the right of the delay, which helps you with those unique delay effects. The only dislike I have with HDelay is the analog noise feature, which is okay on its own, but number 2 is the noisiest one, and that's the one it defaults to. So you just have to be careful when you first open up HDelay to get in that habit of either turning that off or typically moving it to one of the other numbers, because typically we don't want it to be that noisy. Okay, coming in at number 4 is the C6 Multiband Compressor. A multiband compressor is a must-have when it comes to mastering especially, but it can also be very helpful with your mix buses, and occasionally it can actually be helpful on individual tracks if that individual track has different dynamic ranges in different areas of the frequency range. So a multiband compressor is always going to be a must-have, but the C6 is great. It's the same as the C4 from Waves, except for you have 2 additional bands with a Q control. So not only do you have 2 additional bands, but those 2 bands can get more specific with a certain area of the frequency range that might be troublesome with their dynamics. Other than that, you got everything you're going to be looking for here. You have your threshold, attack, release, your range, and a gain, which you can actually use as kind of like an EQ. A lot of times I'm actually using my multibands as an EQ as well. And you also have a master control for all of those features as well as the individual ones. Okay, coming in at number 5 is Vitamin. So sticking in the world of multiband technology, Vitamin is a multiband exciter. It's a fantastic plugin. It can really do a lot for your mixes and your masters. So it's a multiband harmonic exciter. So it's a multiband that we can choose to add harmonics to in the highs, high mids, low mids, and lows. It's got a great sound to it. Those harmonics really do a fantastic job. You also have a stereo area where you can play with the stereo imaging of each one of those bands. So something I typically will do is I will make more of my low end areas more mono and the high end areas more wide. And that tends to give a combination of a clean low end, but also a very bright and wide high end. As well as you can make it so that it's just the harmonic effects and none of the dry audio. So you can also use it as a great parallel effect. Well, there you have it. If you're in the market for some Waves plugins, those are 5 ones that I would definitely check out because I am always using them and I can't live without them. If you like this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.